Hello guys, FNAF Kid here, and today we are going to be watching Treecicle's recent video on Five Nights at Freddy's. I said on my first Five Nights at Freddy's video, I'm going to play it by the timeline, as some people know that, it goes just like through the numbers. And as I seen through this theory of Treecicle, all of his theories on Five Nights at Freddy's, it actually goes sister location, Five Nights at Freddy's 4, Five Nights at Freddy's 2, 1, 3. And those numbers do not go together. But, his recent video goes through it. I watched it. If you're not 13 or up, you shouldn't be watching it because he cusses a lot. Oh.
There's something exceptional about Five Nights at Freddy's. Every time I go back and look at the franchise, I find something else that I somehow didn't notice before. It's like rereading a book and realizing something you completely missed the first time around. Of course, with FNAF, it's like reading a quantum physics book for the 15th time and still finding something confusing or unclear. You sort of expect it by now, so I'm going to delve once more back into the FNAF franchise and pull out some of the loose ends that you might not have noticed. To begin this journey with you, I want to ask you a simple question. How many animatronics are haunted? Some of you who are still extremely up to date probably have an answer or even a guess. Good, hold on to your number and let's see if you're right. However, I have a feeling the majority of you just drew a blank and aren't really sure. That's because the FNAF universe is more confusing than thinking your cousin looks lovely today. You're related to her, Jimmy? It could never work. Well, I guess it could work if you lived in Alabama, Jimmy. Or Alaska, and Colorado, and California, and wow! A lot of states allow marriages to your first cousin. You learn something new every day, Jimmy. But my point is that the FNAF franchise is confusing as balls, and I'm going to unravel that confusion to bring to light a new theory about just how many souls and murders we're actually working with here. So if you're ready for me to break your brainium one more time, then strap into your strapping apparatus and get ready for us to thrust into yet another Five Nights at Freddy's. The story you never knew. Like nearly every FNAF video we make, to prove my point, I'm going to have to start at the beginning of the franchise. Hey, Ryan or Tyler, whichever one of you is editing this part, will you throw up that crappy timeline that we use for FNAF that looks like we had a 5-year-old draw it in MS Paint? Thank you! Alright, according to our FNAF timeline, the franchise starts at FNAF 4. So,
see, like I said, FNAF 1, sister location 2, 1, wait, FNAF 4, sister location 2, 3, 1, whatever, you see it.
Let's go back and look at the animatronics we have in FNAF 4. Throughout all of this game, we only see Golden Freddy and Golden Bonnie, and this makes sense. If you recall, the original animatronics were also springlock suits that could be worn by employees as well as by endoskeletons. And throughout the franchise, we see both Golden Freddy and Golden Bonnie be worn as springlock suits. We see this mode during one of the FNAF 4 minigames, and Bonnie is of course worn by Purple Guy right before he becomes Springtrap. But here's the thing, during FNAF 4, the animatronics that are haunted by the crying child's dreams are no more than nightmares. Scary apparitions that torture the mind of this child who hates Fazbear animatronics. And remember, our goal is to count haunted animatronics. So in reality, in this game, we don't have any animatronics that are cursed or haunted or whatever. Basically, the animatronics in FNAF 4 that are trying to kill you aren't real, so that keeps our haunted animatronics tally at 0, despite that game being one of the most important in the franchise. Well, okay, it keeps the tally at 0 until the end of the game. On the last day during the minigame flashback, we see Golden Freddy bite the crying child's head, which more likely than not means that child does eventually die and ends up possessing Golden Freddy. This actually does make sense if you look at our timeline. We have Golden Freddy in FNAF 4 who bites our sad protagonist. That child is then put into a hospital, which is where the actual nights of FNAF 4 take place. And we know FNAF 4 takes place in a hospital because hospital items will randomly appear on the bedside table, breaking the illusion that this all takes place in a bedroom. This means that the child that was bitten was alive for at least a while after the bite, and we don't see Golden Freddy again until FNAF 1, where he definitely is haunted. Based on these events, it's safe to assume that Golden Freddy gets possessed by the crying child from FNAF 4. So we have one haunted animatronic, or more specifically, one haunted Golden Freddy endoskeleton. This little detail will become important later on, so keep it in the back of your brain. Got it? Good. I'm going to skip over Sister Location until we get closer to the end, so that things don't get too confusing and we can focus on the same animatronics that appear throughout the first 4 games. So let's move on to FNAF 2, the cesspool of animatronics. How many animatronics or haunted individuals appear in this game? The answer is a lot. We have Toy Freddy, Chica, Bonnie, and Mangle to start, but we also have the original Foxy, Freddy, Chica, and Bonnie, as well as Balloon Boy and...
Okay, before we go on, to me, he said the ones that are haunted by spirits. There's at least 7 that I've counted, so I've already watched your video and I know that it's right.
the puppet, and we have Shadow Bonnie and Shadow Freddy, even though he doesn't actually attack you. He being Shadow Freddy. Woo! Even without Shadow Freddy, that's still a lot of souls trying to kill you. Okay, everything is about to get super complicated, so I'm going to try and make it as simple as possible. This game comes before FNAF 1 and FNAF 3 in the timeline. We know that for a fact. FNAF 1 and 3 only use the original 4 animatronics plus Golden Freddy and Golden Bonnie, right? Right! So let's make a list of haunted animatronics in FNAF 2 that don't cross over with the other games. I want to do this so that we don't accidentally count an animatronic twice. That would be bad arithmetic. So we have the toys, Bonnie, Chica, Mangle, and Freddy, plus Balloon Boy and the puppet. Notice how I left out the shadow animatronics. There's a reason for that, and it's because I believe they are Golden Freddy and Golden Bonnie respectively. Their character models match up exactly with the Golden models, and it explains why there's only 2 shadow animatronics. Because there's only 2 Golden animatronics. We also see Golden Freddy and Golden Bonnie pictured as purple shadows in FNAF 4 minigames, further connecting the golden suits with the shadow ones. So the shadow animatronics are actually the golden animatronics and therefore not exclusive to FNAF 2. All the other animatronics appear later on in the franchise. Now, this is important for figuring out the actual number of haunted animatronics. With those characters exclusive to FNAF 2 tallied, that brings our total up to 7 individual haunted characters. Read them and weep, baby! So let's move on to FNAF 1 and count to the original animatronics that are haunted. Man, I'm really starting to feel like Count Von Count over here. Von animatronic. Two animatronic. In FNAF 1, we have Freddy, Chica, Bonnie, and Foxy, and Golden Freddy. But remember, this Golden Freddy is the same haunted animatronic from FNAF 4, so we won't count him again. With the other 4, that brings our total up to 11 haunted animatronics. That's 2 ones right next to each other. That's the number after 10, yet before 12. I know it can get really confusing, so I'm just going to quickly count the animatronics we've listed so far. We've got the 4 original animatronics, the 5 toy animatronics, including Mangle and Balloon Boy, Golden Freddy, and the puppet. That's 11 total between FNAF 4 and FNAF 1. But now, it's time to move on to FNAF 3, the number of haunted characters in which is fairly obvious because the entire game is dedicated to showing you how Purple Guy becomes Springtrap. We know that Springtrap is Golden Bonnie, which brings our total up to 12. Now, let's get into Sister Location. That heretic of a game. Sister Location has 4 animatronics: Funtime Foxy, Funtime Freddy, Ballora, and of course, Baby. We aren't going to count Ennard because Ennard is just the culmination of these 4 animatronics, so he isn't really a new animatronic, just a fusion of these other 4. But we can't count these 4 just yet. Why? As I've said in my other FNAF videos, I believe that Funtime Foxy is the same as Mangle. My reasoning for this is the obvious coloring between both characters being the same and Mangle's teeth. Mangle's most prominent and defining feature is these 2 pairs of teeth that no other animatronic has. If we zoom in close on Funtime Foxy, we can make out that Funtime Foxy has the same 2 sets of teeth, meaning that these 2 are the same character. So we won't count Funtime Foxy in our tally because we've already counted Mangle. So we'll add 3 instead of 4 to our tally, bringing our total haunted animatronic number to a whopping 15. Hot damn, that's a lot of machinery and souls dead set on ending your life. Now, many of you might have had that number on hand or guessed it, and I tip my hat to you all, but that's not where this video ends. The fact that there's 15 haunted characters should rest uneasy with you because there aren't 15 dead souls to account for them. This is what I've been driving at. This is one of the more hidden mysteries of Five Nights at Freddy's that we will try to unravel today. We're still missing the story of so many of these characters. Let me break it down for you. we know that there was the missing children incident where 5 children ended up going missing and were presumed dead. Their bodies were stuffed into the original animatronics Freddy, Foxy, Bonnie, Chica, and presumably Golden Freddy. Now, I know I said Golden Freddy is possessed by the crying child from FNAF 4, and I meant it. I'll explain how both the FNAF 4 child and a child from the missing children incident can possess the same animatronic. Remember that Golden Freddy can either be an animatronic or a suit. We've seen him in each form throughout the games. However, later on in the story, we also see that Golden Freddy's endoskeleton has been stripped from the suit, leaving him slumped over and unable to move like the other fellas. This set off an alarm in my head because it made me ask an important question. Are the animatronic suits themselves haunted, or are the endoskeletons haunted? And here's the thing, we have proof that both can be haunted independently of each other. We've seen endoskeletonless Golden Freddy be very much haunted in FNAF 1, and we've seen a naked endoskeleton running around FNAF 2 trying to kill you. This is how 2 souls can embody the same animatronic. One haunts the endoskeleton, and once that endoskeleton is removed, another haunts the actual suit itself. This is what I think happened with Golden Freddy. I believe the crying child from FNAF 4 haunted the endoskeleton, as I said earlier in the video, but once that endoskeleton was removed, the purple guy put one of the bodies of one of the 5 children from the missing children incident into Golden Freddy, making the suit itself haunted. That explains why all the original animatronics are haunted, including Golden Freddy, and it explains why there's a haunted endoskeleton in FNAF 2. If Shadow Freddy is Golden Freddy, which based on his slumped posture and design he almost certainly is, it looks like the endoskeleton has been stripped out of Golden Freddy by the time FNAF 2 occurs. So Golden Freddy doesn't stalk you in FNAF 2, but the haunted endoskeleton does. With all that explained, we've got souls haunting all 5 animatronics in FNAF 1. We can also account for the puppet soul. During FNAF 2, we also get a minigame where we see Purple Guy kill a crying child. Based on the crying child's tear marks and face that resemble the puppet's mask, I believe the soul inhabiting the puppet is the crying child. We also know that the Purple Guy's soul and body inhabits Springtrap, and that the green-eyed girl's soul inhabits Baby. But that leaves us with a problem. There's 7 missing souls we can't account for. Golden Freddy, Golden Bonnie, the original Freddy, Foxy, Chica, Bonnie the puppet, and Baby all have explanations for where their haunted souls came from. But Toy Freddy, Chica, Bonnie, and Mangle, Balloon Boy, Funtime Freddy, and Ballora have no explanation for why they are haunted. Where did these souls come from? What happened to them? Who killed them? All these questions haven't been answered yet, and these are the questions that make me realize that Scott Cawthon isn't done. Not by a long shot. On the contrary, in terms of deciphering the storyline, it looks like we're only halfway there. Only half of the animatronics have stories that we know. This is the secret of the FNAF family. More deaths happened than we currently know of. What this seemingly simple counting exercise proves is that someone, maybe William Afton, maybe Michael Afton, maybe someone else, killed 7 more children than we've seen die. I wouldn't be hanging up your detective glasses just yet. With the new book and the Freddy Files coming out next month, I think we're about to find out what happened with these toy animatronics and why they are haunted. Scott has left himself multiple murders to account for, but he's made the FNAF universe so ridiculously complex and filled that we didn't even realize there were more murders we haven't seen. So much of the game revolves around certain murders and finding out who the killer was that we've fallen into the same trap Scott always sets for us. He leads us one way with clues and answers when in reality there's an entire section of story missing that we didn't notice because we were all too caught up in what we did know. Needless to say, the FNAF storyline isn't over. There's still 7 murders left unsolved.
And we don't know what they are. So guys, I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm not gonna upload this right away. I'm gonna upload it like later. See ya. Like, subscribe, and join the notification squad.